I'm always looking for new ways to make chicken for Jeffrey. But since it's an anniversary, I thought I'm going to do something really special. I'm going to make coq au vin, which is a French chicken and wine with mushrooms and bacon. So the first thing I need is 4 ounces of bacon or pancetta. I think just good smoked bacon is fine. I put a little splash of olive oil in the pan. I'm just going to cook it for about 8 to 10 minutes until the bacon's really crisp. Okay, while that cooks, I'm going to get the chicken ready. So what I've done is I've asked the butcher to cut a chicken up in 10 pieces. I'm going to salt and pepper it really well on both sides. Okay, so that's salt and peppered, and I think the bacon's done. Perfect. So I'm going to take the bacon out with a slotted spoon and just leave the fat that's left behind for browning the chicken. Just put it on a big plate. So the chicken's going to go in. I want to do it in batches so it browns really nicely. If you put too much in, it actually ends up steaming rather than browning. I'm not cooking it completely, I'm just browning it. And all the flavors from the browning are going to get into the sauce. So I'm going to cook it on one side and then turn it and cook it on the other side. This is looking perfect now, nice and browned. It's not cooked through, but it's nice and browned on the outside. I'm going to put the second batch in. Okay, just going to let that brown and wash my hands. Okay, that's the second side browned. Looks perfect. Just going to take it out. Now I'm going to get some carrots and onions ready to saute in that pot. So I need half a pound of carrots. I actually use really big, thick slices. Into the pan. 1 yellow onion, just sliced into the pan. 1 clove of garlic minced right in. Okay, next thing is good stuff. 1/4 cup of cognac. This is going to give the flavor of the cognac, and it deglazes the pan. Get all those delicious, crusty parts into the sauce. Okay, now I'm going to put the chicken and the bacon all back into the pot. And all the juices that collect on the plate, too. Have a bottle of Burgundy. You can use Pinot Noir, but just something really good that you would drink. Cup of chicken stock. And the last thing is a big sprig of fresh thyme. Don't even pick the leaves off. You can just take the stem out after it's done. Okay, into the oven, 250 degrees for just about an hour. And it's going to be so good. And I'm going to serve it with garlic mashed potatoes. Who wouldn't want that for an anniversary dinner? Almost done with the coq au vin, and I just have to make garlic mashed potatoes to go with it. What a great combination that's going to be. So I have a half a pound of mushrooms. These are cremini. You can use porcini. The only thing you don't want to use are those sort of button mushrooms that you find in the grocery store. They don't have a lot of flavor. So I'm just going to cook these in a little bit of butter. Just get them browned. I use a big saute pan so they brown nicely. You don't want them to steam. You want them to really sort of sear a little bit. Fantastic. Now I'm going to get the coq au vin out of the oven. This smells so good. Okay, so now I'm going to make a little bit of a roux, which is flour and butter, to thicken it. So I need 1½ tablespoons of flour and 1 tablespoon of softened butter. Just mash it all together and then add it back into the pot, and it thickens really nicely. Okay, that's nicely mashed up. Right into the coq au vin. This is going to thicken the sauce beautifully. And the last really important ingredient for coq au vin, little baby onions. I need half a pound of baby onions, and I have to say, the thought of peeling half a pound of baby onions would stop me from making coq au vin. Frozen baby onions are great. So right into the pot. I'm going to add the mushrooms in. I actually leave the mushrooms till the last ingredient so they don't disintegrate, and they're really great when they're just quickly sauteed. Give it a stir. Cook for about 10 minutes so the sauce is nice and thick. And take out the stems of the thyme. It's all going to cook together. It's going to be so good. And next I'm going to make creamy garlic mashed potatoes to go with it. What a great combination. I'm always looking for new ways to make mashed potatoes, and this is a particularly good one. Garlic mashed potatoes, the first thing I'm gonna do is cook some garlic in olive oil until it's really sweet and golden. A cup of olive oil and half a head of garlic. So I don't know, about 10 cloves of garlic. I'm just gonna cook those for about 10 minutes. So while the garlic cooks, I'm gonna drain the mashed potatoes. I've got 1.5 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes that I peeled and quartered. And I've cooked for about 20 minutes in boiling salted water until they're tender. I'm just gonna drain them. I love the texture of a food mill. You can certainly mash them if you don't have one, but it just gives it a nice sort of texture. And then I'm gonna add half a head of cooked garlic that I've cooked in olive oil. All I need to add is a few tablespoons of the garlic olive oil, give it lots of flavor, 1 teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of pepper. Okay, now to make it nice and creamy, 2 tablespoons of cream. Perfect. Now I'm going to keep it hot, sitting over a pan of steaming water. Almost 8 o'clock. I told Jeffrey to meet me at 8 o'clock on the porch. So, potatoes are ready. It's a big dollop right on the side. And the coq au vin is just bubbling away. So I want lots of chicken and bacon and wine sauce. Carrots. Oh, this looks delicious. That's ready. All I need is this present. Can't have an anniversary without a present. I got him an MP3 player loaded with all his favorite music. He's gonna be very happy. Wonder what he got me. So the first thing I'm gonna make is beef bourguignon, which is really just beef stew with red wine. And I'm gonna serve it with a salad with a creamy mustard vinaigrette and maybe a Kir Royale, which is champagne with a little bit of Kir in it. Sounds good. For the beef bourguignon, what I have here is about a half a pound of bacon. I cooked it in a tablespoon of oil. I'm gonna take it out, which leaves some of the fat in the pan, and then I'm gonna cook the beef and the vegetables and the wine, a little cognac. It's gonna be really good together. You know, I think Americans think of French food as this sort of fancy pinkies up kind of thing, and I love the really traditional recipes that are real country food. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take 2.5 pounds of chuck, which is a fairly inexpensive cut of meat, not like filet of beef. And I've cut it in cubes, and I'm just gonna dry it a little bit. If the cubes are dry, they'll brown better in the pan. Just salt, pepper, and then I'm gonna brown them in the pan. Just do it in a single layer so they brown really evenly. Oh, this looks great. So the meat's all nice and brown and it really brings out the flavor. So I'm gonna take this and take it out of the pan onto the plate with the bacon and just put it all together. You wanna save all the juices and it's all gonna go back in the pan later. Okay, and then the next thing I'm gonna do is put in the rest of the meat. This is a really traditional French recipe, and I just think it's a much easier way to make it. It takes much less time, but it's wonderful for entertaining because you've got the meat and the vegetables and everything all together in the pot, and if you make it a day or two in advance, all the flavors just get better and better. You just have to heat it up before dinner. Okay, that's done. I'm just gonna take this out. It smells so good already. Now I'm just going to finish prepping the vegetables. I have a pound of carrots. And now what I'm going to do is throw them into the pot with all the juices from the beef and the bacon. And cook them for about 10 or 15 minutes until they're just tender. And I'm going to add 2 large yellow onions and a tablespoon of salt. And 2 teaspoons of freshly ground pepper. It seems like a lot, but it's a big stew. I'm just going to saute this for about 15 minutes until the vegetables are just tender and the onions are nicely browned. This is so great. Miguel, I think, is picking up flowers and dessert while I make dinner, so it makes it so much easier and really more fun. I love a good collaborative meal. So the next thing I'm going to do for the beef bourguignon is put in chopped garlic, about 2 cloves. Very often recipes call for onions and garlic to go in together, but I think the garlic really burns very quickly. So I tend to do the onions for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then the garlic for only the last minute. And then you get all the flavor of the garlic and no burning. So 2 cloves of garlic, right in with the carrots and the onions. I'm just going to stir that a minute while I go get the cognac. So I need a half a cup of cognac. I'm going to pour it into the pot. And now comes the fun part. I'm going to flame it. Stand back. Whew. What the flame does is it burns off all the alcohol but leaves that gorgeous flavor of cognac. Okay, and then I'm going to put all the meat and the bacon and all those gorgeous juices right back in. And then a whole bottle of red wine, good red wine. You want to make sure it's wine that you drink. And actually, you can even serve the same wine with dinner. I did say a whole bottle. And then I'm going to add a little bit of beef broth. Just want enough so that it covers, almost covers the meat, but not quite. And don't spend days making beef broth. A can of it is just fine. Tablespoon of tomato paste. I actually get it in a tube, so it's really easy to keep stored in the refrigerator. Okay. Keep it nice and fresh with the top on. And the last thing here is fresh herbs, fresh thyme. Smelling awfully good. I think Miguel's going to be pleased. So now it's simmering, which is perfect. Now this is the other novel thing about this recipe. Instead of cooking it on top of the stove, as most beef bourguignon is, and I'm endlessly fiddling, turning up the heat, turning down the heat, I discovered that if I cooked it at 250 degrees in the oven for 1 hour and 15 minutes, instead of like 2.5 hours as they usually are, it comes out perfectly done. Beef bourguignon should be a really thick and delicious stew, and the traditional French one has lots of mushrooms in it. So I'll show you what I do with the mushrooms. You really don't want to wash them because there's something about them, they just absorb all that water and they just get sort of watery. So what I'm going to do is just brush them off with a towel or paper towel, anything like that. And then I'm going to slice them up and saute them in a little butter. And if they're really big, I'll take the stems out, but it's not usually necessary. So it's about 1 pound of mushrooms. Doesn't have to be exact. I know Miguel's doing a table setting in there, and I'm sure it's going to be totally over the top, but just gorgeous. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do is just slice them really thickly. You don't want little thin slices. You want gorgeous thick slices. Traditionally, beef bourguignon is served with noodles or potatoes. But one day, my assistant Barbara and I decided to test that, and we found it was okay. But the best thing is if you take a grilled piece of bread, rub it with garlic, and then pour the beef bourguignon over it. It's sort of like gravy and bread. Who wouldn't like that? It was really good. So that's what I'm going to do for Miguel. Okay, so big chunk of butter, high heat. Just let that melt. Big wooden spoon. So when you're sauteing something, you always want to let the butter get really hot and then throw it in. It'll really sear the flavor. Okay, nice little sizzle going. And in go the mushrooms. So I'm just going to saute those for about 10 minutes until they're really meaty and delicious and tender. Beef bourguignon home stretch. So the mushrooms are done. Woo. Oh, that smells so good. Can't wait to see what Miguel's doing for the table setting. So I only have a few more things to do with the beef bourguignon, and the first is I'm going to thicken it a little bit. A little butter and flour. 2 tablespoons of butter. 3 tablespoons of flour. This is a really easy way to thicken a sauce. Just mash the flour and the butter together. You want to have room temperature butter so they go together. It just takes a second, but it's really worth doing right. Okay. Okay, that looks like it's done. Just until it's all mashed together. I'm just going to put it in and cook it just a bit. It's just going to... I love the way this smells. I can smell the cognac and the wine and carrots and onions. Who wouldn't want that for dinner? Got every last bit. So beef bourguignon has small whole onions, and I'm going to show you a trick. Instead of peeling all those onions, I use frozen small whole onions, and they taste just great. When it comes to big onions, I don't mind peeling and chopping them, but when they're really small, I like the frozen ones. And you just dump them in. Mix it up. And the last thing is the mushrooms that have been sauteed. Okay, right in. I'm going to let this simmer away for about 15 minutes until all those flavors are together, the beef and the bacon, carrots, onions, little garlic, all that wine and cognac and mushrooms. Oh, this just smells so gorgeous. Time for dinner. So I'm just going to take a cut clove of garlic, and instead of chopping it, I'm just going to rub it right on this bread. So you get all of the oils and the essence of garlic without the bite of it. And each plate's going to have one big chunk of country bread and lots of beef bourguignon. Okay. A little bit of chopped parsley on the top is always nice. So just run your knife along the stems and you cut off the leaves. Since it's just the two of us, I think it might be nice to have everything on the table at once so we can really relax. The beef bourguignon, the salad with creamy mustard vinaigrette, big chunk of brie, and a nice tart for dessert. So I think I'll get Miguel to help me. God, Miguel, this is so beautiful.
I'm glad you like it.
It's like a French garden, like the laundry in East Hampton. It's fabulous. So you want to come help me and get everything for the table? Beef bourguignon is ready, and a little salad and a little brie.
I'm sure your food is better than my table.
Here we go. I'm going to do the beef bourguignon. Do you want to get some salad utensils in that drawer? I've got the salad all ready, but don't mix the vinaigrette on the bottom. We'll mix it just before we eat it. How's that?
It smells great.
Doesn't that smell great?
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to dinner all day.
Me too.
And I've been looking forward to seeing you.
And I love what you did with the brie.
Oh, you do? Oh, thanks. I actually stole some hydrangea leaves from my hydrangeas.
It actually looks very Parisian in a way.
it does? Oh,
Yeah, it
good.
does. Yeah, it's great.
Well, of course, it has to be.
All right. Wow.
You and I have had some good times in Paris, haven't we?
No, we love Paris.
What's not to love?
Exactly. Especially if you're home with you and you're cooking.
Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? Okay, a little bit of parsley,
All right.
like that. A little bit of parsley. Why don't I take these, and you can take the salad and the brie,
Perfect.
and I'd say we're ready for dinner.
Great.
Come with me.
Let's go.
I love beef stew, but I often find it disappointing. The beef is a little tough, the sauce is a little thin. My red wine braised short ribs is amazing. I use an entire bottle of red wine and a bottle of stout. Nothing disappointing about this beef stew. For the past 20 years that I've been writing recipes, I've probably written more than 1,000 recipes. And I have to say there are a couple of recipes I go back to over and over and over again, and red wine braised short ribs is definitely one of them. It's so delicious, and it's great for a party because you can make it ahead. And it starts with short ribs. So I have 5 pounds of really meaty short ribs, and instead of searing them in a pan, which I find so annoying, where you have to keep turning them and get oil spattered all over you, what I'm gonna do is I'll put them on a sheet pan, and I'm gonna brush them with oil, sprinkle them with 1.5 tablespoons of salt. It's a lot of salt, I know, but it's a lot of short ribs too. I actually serve this with blue cheese grits or a big puddle of mashed potatoes. I don't think anybody's been disappointed. 1.5 teaspoons of pepper. I want this really well seasoned. Into the oven, 425 degrees for 20 minutes, and it'll be nice and browned and delicious. So much easier than searing it in a pan. Okay, next the vegetables. I've got 1/4 cup of olive oil heated in the pan, and I've got 3 cups of leeks. And what I did was I dried them in a salad spinner. You don't want them wet, otherwise they steam instead of sauteing. That's 3 cups of leeks, 3 cups of celery, 2 cups of carrots, and 2 cups of chopped onions. And I'm just going to saute this all together for the vegetables to start cooking, get tender. I'm just going to let them cook for 20 minutes. Roasted short ribs. Oh, look how great these look. I'm just going to turn the oven down to 325 because that's what I cook the stew at. Perfect. So the vegetables are cooked. I'm just going to add some garlic. I always add the garlic at the last minute because I don't want it to burn. I'm just going to cook that for about 1 minute, just until you can smell that sort of cooked garlic flavor. Okay, next is my secret weapon. My secret weapon in most dishes is, if you want it to taste better, add alcohol. So I'm going to put in a whole bottle of red wine. I'm not messing around here. It's not like a little splash of something, a tablespoon, a whole bottle. I'm using a Côte de Rhône, which is a really nice, full-bodied French red wine, but not too fancy. Use something you would drink. It doesn't have to be incredibly expensive, it just has to taste good. So I'm gonna bring that to a boil and lower the heat and simmer this for about 10 minutes. In the meantime, I'll tell you about some of the things I've learned about alcohol over the years. I've learned a lot. Okay, chilling wine. People think that you should plunge the bottle into a bucket of ice, but what we really want to do is put it in ice water, which cools down the wine faster. Perfectly chilled. Here's to the end of a wine myth. I don't believe that you can only serve red wine with red meat and white wine with chicken and fish. Choose whatever you like together. Then on to glasses. If the food is earthy and simple, like pizzas, I use tumblers. And for a more elegant or formal party, I use stemmed wine glasses. Moving to liqueurs, and this might surprise you, I rarely serve them alone. More often, I cook with them or I use them for cocktails. And finally, I always have some limoncello and vodka in the freezer. You never know when you want to pour some ice-cold limoncello over vanilla ice cream for a really quick dessert. Or some frozen vodka to make the perfect cocktail like this Duke's Cosmopolitan. I could go for one of those right now. Okay, back to the short ribs. So the next thing I'm going to do is add 4 cups of beef stock. If you have homemade beef stock, it's even better, but you can also use store-bought beef stock. And 1 cup of canned crushed tomatoes, about half a can. Okay, and wait till you see what I put in next. So I've got 1 bottle of Irish stout beer, and it's made from hops and yeast and barley, and it's just got a really dark flavor, layered with the red wine. It's just fantastic. Okay, that's the stout. Next is thyme. And what I do is I just take a thyme sprigs and I make a little bundle, and as it cooks, all the leaves fall off, and then I throw out the bundle. Then 1 tablespoon of salt. It's a big pot of stew. And 1½ teaspoons of pepper. And give it a big stir. Okay, 1 more ingredient, roasted short ribs. So I'm gonna take this whole pan and just put the short ribs right in. And I'm gonna put all the juices from the pan in. I've actually started making classic American beef stew like this. Short ribs are just so good. They're so much more interesting than the classic chuck. They have more flavor, they're sort of richer. They make a great sauce. Okay, those are the short ribs. I'm just gonna bring this to a boil, cover it, and then I'll talk you through the next steps. First, I'll put the stew in the oven at 325 degrees for 1 hour. Next, I'll remove the lid and cook it for another hour until the meat is really tender. When the time's up, I'll take it out. Remove the short ribs with a slotted spoon and put them on a plate. Discard the thyme bundle and simmer the sauce on top of the stove for 20 minutes. So we're almost there. I'll skim off some of the fat from the top, return the ribs to the pot, and cook them for 5 minutes just for them to heat up. So all I have left to do now is serve some up. Let me show you how gorgeous this is. The short ribs, but also sauce and vegetables. And the sauce is thick and rich and absolutely amazing. Now you can see why this is one of my favorites. Big chunk of bread. How gorgeous is that? Oh, this just smells amazing. The sauce is so rich and delicious, and it's the red wine and the stout that made all the difference in the world. Yum. Scallops Provençal. I love making these. I know they're really fresh. Jeffrey and I just got them. It's about 1 pound of scallops, and the first thing I'm gonna do is just salt and pepper them. Sometimes people salt and pepper the flour, but I think it never really gets into the scallops, so I'm gonna salt and pepper them first and then flour them. So, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, lots of pepper, a little flour. And what the flour is going to do is going to sear the scallops really nicely, but it's also going to get into the sauce, so it's going to thicken the butter and lemon sauce. Okay. 2 tablespoons of butter. Just going to put the scallops in 1 layer. I'm going to cook them on medium heat for about 2 minutes, and then I'll turn them and add lots of flavor. In the meantime, I'm going to chop up some shallots. So 2 big shallots. Sometimes when I'm making this for a dinner party, I get all the ingredients all prepped in advance, and the whole thing just takes 5 minutes in the pan. I'm just going to turn the scallops. Perfect, they're nice and browned. And see, the browning sort of sears them, gives them lots of flavor. Okay, that's going to cook for another 2 minutes, and I'm just going to chop up some garlic. So I'm going to chop up these ingredients and then just add them to the pan and make a sauce with butter and white wine. It's going to be just delicious. And in order for it to be really Provençal, parsley. So I need about 1/4 cup of chopped parsley. How bad can that be? Okay, just a rough chop. Okay, now for the sauce. I've got all my ingredients ready. So I'm just going to put 2 tablespoons of butter in. I'm going to put in the shallots, the garlic, and parsley, 1/4 cup of parsley. And just saute this all together so you can smell the The garlic and the shallots and parsley together. Just about 2 minutes on the saute pan. And then 1/3 cup of white wine, and that's going to get all the brown bits in the bottom of the pan into the sauce. Just choose a nice dry white wine, something you'd want to drink with a meal, and then serve it with a dinner. Okay, that's really it. It's just perfect. Okay, I'm just going to leave that for a minute while I get some herbs for the rice. And dinner's ready. Time to serve everything up. Mussels and white wine, it's one of Jeffrey and my favorite things to have when we're in France. So I thought it'd be really fun to make them for Jeffrey. So for 2 of us, I've got 3 pounds of mussels. I'm just gonna fill the bowl with water and then put a little bit of flour in the water. And what this does is it gets the mussels to give up any sand that's in them. So, okay, oh, it smells like the sea. So while these are soaking, I'm gonna make a wine broth with lots of garlic and shallots. Heat up 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to chop up lots of shallots. Just roughly chop them. This is a great dish. You just serve huge bowls of steaming mussels with lots of wine broth with shallots and garlic. Big chunks of French bread. Okay, 1 cup of chopped shallots, right into the oil and butter. And then I need like 5 or 6 cloves of garlic. Just chop them up. This is a really garlicky dish. It's wonderful. Okay. I'm just gonna cook these for a few minutes until the shallots are translucent and the garlic's cooked. In the meantime, I'm gonna get some tomatoes ready. I need about 1/2 cup of canned tomatoes. I'm just going to chop them up in the measure. They don't have to be perfect. Just a rough chop. Okay. Now I need a little saffron, which I love. It's the stamens of crocuses, which is why it's so expensive. I'm just going to put about 1/2 teaspoon of saffron in. I can smell the saffron already. I need some fresh parsley. Chop it up. Okay, right in. Some fresh thyme. Not the stems, just the leaves. That's about 1/3 cup of parsley and about a tablespoon of thyme. Okay, that should do it. Okay, now I need a cup of white wine. I picked a really nice dry white wine, something I drink for dinner. And this is what's going to steam the mussels. Now I'm going to see how the mussels are doing. So they've been soaking in the flour, and you can feel a little bit of sand, so it was good that we did it. And just make sure they're all closed really tight. So this one doesn't seem to want to close, so I'm going to discard that. I'm just going to take them out of the water, drain them into the broth. Just toss them with the broth. I'm gonna put on the lid, 8 to 10 minutes, and dinner's ready.
So what do you think we should do tomorrow?
You know, I was thinking, let's just really take a little vacation and go to Sag Harbor.
I'll take you for a walk.
On the dock?
Yeah, we'll look at the boats.
Okay. Walk down Main Street?
That's delicious. What a wonderful Saturday night dinner. But I have a question.
What?
We're going to be so busy. How are we going to work in dinner at home?
You know me. I got that covered. I love our weekends together.
It's a great weekend.